A boy's 3 words stopped his father's wedding and exposed the bride's darkest secret in front of everyone. The bells of St. Matthew's Church tolled across the quiet town of Riverton, each heavy note sinking deep into the morning air. Sunlight spilled across the stained glass windows, turning the white stone walls into a kaleidoscope of color. Guests in pressed suits and glittering dresses streamed inside, buzzing with excitement. For most, today was a day of hope, a celebration of second chances. For Jonathan Miller, it was supposed to be a new beginning, a chance to bury the grief that had gnawed at him since the day his wife passed. For months, he had walked like a shadow, hollow-eyed, consumed by work and loneliness. Then Clara appeared, elegant, radiant, with a laugh that seemed to chase away the silence of his house. She had convinced him that love could come twice in a lifetime. And yet, as he stood in the dressing room, his reflection staring back at him, Jonathan felt the walls close in. His fingers shook as he adjusted his tie. He had fought wars in boardrooms, negotiated contracts worth millions. But this, standing at the edge of love again, frightened him in ways nothing else had. Behind him, perched stiffly on a wooden chair by the window, sat his 11-year-old son, Ethan, dressed in a small black suit, his bow tie still hanging loose. Ethan did not share the joy humming outside the door. His small frame was taut, his jaw tight, his eyes cast firmly downward. Jonathan turned, forcing cheer into his voice. "Come here, son. Let me help with that tie." Ethan rose reluctantly, his steps slow, resentful. Jonathan crouched slightly, fumbling with the silk ribbon, trying to steady his hands. "Hold still," he murmured. But Ethan shoved his hand away, his voice low and sharp. "I can do it myself." Jonathan blinked, startled. "Ethan, you're supposed to be happy for me today." Ethan's head shot up, his dark eyes glinting with something between pain and fury. "Happy? You didn't even tell me where you met her until last week." Jonathan's mouth opened, then closed. He pinched the bridge of his nose. "I met Clara at a charity dinner. It doesn't matter how. What matters is that she came into my life when I needed someone. That's enough." Ethan's hands clenched at his sides. "It's not enough for me. I've never seen her at our house. Not once. You never bring her when we eat together. You send me to Mom's grave alone, but she's never with us. Why?" The words sliced Jonathan deeper than he expected. He turned away, jaw tight, fighting the heaviness pressing on his chest. "Because I didn't want you ruining this. Every time I try to bring her around, you made it miserable. That's because she feels wrong." Ethan's voice cracked. His small chest heaved, tears glinting in his eyes. "She never looks at me. She never even asks about Mom. She acts like I don't exist." Jonathan stiffened. Clara had warned him that Ethan wasn't ready, that grief made children cruel and suspicious. Perhaps Ethan would grow to love her in time, Jonathan told himself. Perhaps he was blinded by longing for the woman he'd lost. "Not everything has to be about the past," Jonathan whispered. "Maybe Clara doesn't want to step where she doesn't belong. She's trying." Ethan's lips trembled. "No, she's hiding." The church bells rang again, calling them. Jonathan placed a hand on his son's shoulder. It was meant as reassurance, but Ethan only stiffened. Father and son locked eyes, one desperate, the other unconvinced, before Jonathan turned and opened the door. It was time. The sanctuary glowed in the soft light of morning. Rows of guests turned as the organ began, their whispers floating upward to the vaulted ceiling. White lilies lined the aisle, their fragrance heavy in the air. At the altar, Father Gabriel adjusted his Bible, his face calm, unreadable. Jonathan stood tall, forcing steadiness into his shoulders, his heart thudding against his ribs. Beside him, Ethan shifted uncomfortably, eyes downcast. Then the doors opened. Clara Hayes stepped into view, veiled and radiant. Her dress shimmered with each slow step, her bouquet a burst of red roses. Guests leaned in, murmuring in admiration. "Beautiful," someone whispered. "He's lucky." Jonathan's chest swelled. For a moment, he believed it. But beside him, Ethan's stomach twisted. The longer he looked, the colder he felt. Something about her smile. It didn't reach her eyes. He swallowed hard, wishing for the ceremony to end quickly. Halfway down the aisle, Clara tilted her head, and the veil slipped slightly. That was when Ethan saw it. A thin scar cut across her neck, faint but undeniable. His breath caught, his vision blurred. No, it couldn't be. Memory crashed into him. Afternoons outside Riverton Elementary. A woman with the same scar, standing with a man who held her close. A little boy clung to her hand. She had kissed a man's cheek, her laughter bright. Ethan's heart pounded. It was her. He tugged at his father's sleeve, desperation in his voice. "Dad." "Not now," Jonathan hissed, eyes fixed on Clara. "I've seen her before," Ethan whispered fiercely. "At my school, with a man and a kid. She's not who you think she is." Jonathan's face darkened. "Stop making things up. Not here. Not today. I'm not making it up." Ethan's voice shook. "She's married, Dad. She has a family." "Quiet." Jonathan's tone cracked like a whip. "Don't embarrass me." Ethan's eyes stung. He looked at Clara again, at the scar that betrayed her, and knew he couldn't stay silent. Father Gabriel's voice rang through the church. "If anyone here knows of any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, let them speak now." Silence. Then Ethan stepped forward. His small frame trembled, but his voice rang out clear, shattering the stillness. "Stop. She's lying. She already has a husband and a kid. I saw her." The sanctuary gasped as one. Heads swiveled. Clara froze, bouquet trembling. Jonathan's eyes widened, his face pale. "She's not supposed to be here." Ethan cried. Tears streaked his cheeks. "I saw her at school with her husband and her son. She lied to you." Whispers rippled. "A husband, a child." Jonathan staggered back. "Answer him, Clara." His voice cracked with fury and fear. "What is he talking about?" Clara's veil slipped as she shook her head violently. "He's a child. He's jealous, confused, making up stories because he doesn't want me here. I'm not lying." Ethan sobbed. "I remember your scar. I didn't recognize you at first, but now I know it's you." Father Gabriel lowered his Bible, his expression grave. "Madam, this accusation cannot be ignored. Before God and this congregation, I must ask you plainly, are you already wed?" The church fell silent. Clara's chest heaved. She laughed once, bitterly. "This is absurd. You're humiliating me over a child's fantasy." "Then swear it," Jonathan demanded, his voice rising. "Swear before God you're not married. Swear you don't have a child." She hesitated. Too long. Whispers grew to a storm. Jonathan's eyes narrowed. "You can't, can you?" Clara's face twisted. Her voice exploded, sharp and raw. "Fine. Yes, I have a husband. Yes, I have a child. But he's useless. You think I wanted to waste my life scraping by when I could have you? Your name, your money, your mansion. Everything you're too blind to guard properly." Gasps filled the air. Someone shouted, "Scammer!" Another hissed, "Shameful." Jonathan staggered, clutching the pew for balance. His voice shook with rage. "You were trying to scam me, to steal everything I've worked for. And I nearly let you." Clara sneered, "And you almost fell for it." Jonathan's hand shook as he pulled out his phone. "Enough. You won't ruin another man's life. I'm calling the police." Clara's eyes widened. "What?" "No, you can't." But he had already dialed. His voice carried through the stunned silence. "Yes, officer. We have a woman here attempting marriage fraud. She's already married with a child. Send someone immediately." Clara dropped her bouquet. Roses scattering across the aisle. "You will regret this," she screamed, thrashing. But no one moved to help. Faces turned away in disgust. Minutes later, the doors opened. Officers from the Riverton Police Department strode down the aisle. Guests parted in silence. Clara fought as they restrained her, her veil tearing, curses echoing until the door slammed shut behind her. Silence remained, thick, suffocating. Jonathan turned slowly. Ethan stood rigid, his face streaked with tears, fists clenched at his sides. Jonathan fell to his knees. His voice broke. You saved me. If you hadn't spoken, I would have ruined everything." His hand trembled on Ethan's shoulder. "I didn't trust you. I should have. I'm so sorry." Ethan's voice cracked. "I didn't want you to get hurt like Mom hurt you. I couldn't let her do it too." Jonathan pulled him into a fierce embrace, pressing his forehead against his son's. "Never again. You're all I need. You and the truth." Father Gabriel closed his Bible with finality. His voice carried, solemn and steady. "Let this be a lesson to all present. Lies cannot stand where truth is spoken." Guests rose quietly, their gazes shifting away from the wreckage of a wedding that never was, settling instead on the small boy who had dared to speak. Petals lay torn across the aisle, red against the pale stone floor like blood. The sanctuary, once filled with whispers of admiration, now held only silence. Jonathan and Ethan clung to one another. At last Jonathan rose, keeping his son's small hand in his. Together they walked down the aisle, not as groom and ring-bearer, but as father and son bound tighter than before. The bells of St. Matthew's tolled once more, not in celebration, but in solemn witness to a truth revealed. Outside, the autumn air felt sharp, fresh. For the first time in years, Jonathan felt free. And he knew now, more than ever, that love built on lies crumbles, while love built on truth endures.